Hey, welcome. So your e-commerce business is growing like crazy, right? Well, that success comes with its own set of headaches. Today, we are getting inside the command center of your entire fulfillment operation, the Warehouse Management System, or WMS. Let's dive right in.
Sound familiar? Orders are pouring in, but finding the right product in your own warehouse suddenly feels like a wild goose chase. You're seeing stock counts that just don't add up, and worse, customers are starting to ask, hey, where's my stuff? These, my friends, are the classic growing pains of a warehouse trying to run on spreadsheets and guesswork instead of a real intelligent system.
All right, here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll look at the problem, what we're calling warehouse chaos. Then, we'll introduce the hero of our story, the WMS, and see how its brain actually works. We'll also figure out how it talks to the rest of your business. And then, the best part, we'll look at the real-world proof.
Okay, let's start with the problem. And it's actually a good problem to have because it means your business is taking off. But with that growth comes a ton of complexity that your old manual processes just can't keep up with. And that, right there, is how you get warehouse chaos.
And listen, these aren't just made-up issues. A huge Indian footwear brand was dealing with this exact stuff. They had no idea what their stock levels were in real time, which led to constant mismatches. They couldn't track an order through the pick, pack, and ship process to save their lives. Their old system was just not built for the speed of e-commerce, and everything was becoming slow and full of errors.
So how do you fight all that chaos? Well, you don't just try to work harder, you have to work smarter. And that is exactly where the warehouse management system comes in. It's the strategic weapon designed to bring precise, data-driven order back into your operations.
So what is it really? Well, at its core, a WMS is basically the playbook for your warehouse. It's not just a piece of software. It's a whole system of rules and processes that make sure your warehouse is running like a well-oiled machine, hitting its goals day in and day out.
Honestly, this is the best way to think about it. If your warehouse is a body, you've got workers as the hands, shelves as the skeleton, then the WMS is the brain. It's directing every single little movement with intelligence and purpose.
So what does this brain actually do all day? How does it think? Let's peel back the layers and look at three of its most important jobs: managing your inventory, your space, and your people.
First up, inventory. A simple system might just tell you you have 100 blue shirts. A WMS, on the other hand, tells you you have 20 of those blue shirts in aisle 1, bin 4, from lot number 123, and, oh, by the way, they expire next month. That level of detail, we call it bin-level tracking, is an absolute game changer for accuracy.
Second, let's talk about space. The WMS brain doesn't just put things wherever they fit. Nope, it uses something called slotting optimization. It's constantly analyzing data, what sells fastest, what items are usually bought together, and it puts those items in the perfect spot. The goal? To make picking orders way faster and to stop your team from bumping into each other in the aisles.
And third, your people, your most valuable asset. The WMS is like a super smart director for your whole team. It can track performance, sure, but more importantly, it gives out tasks intelligently. It's like a GPS for your pickers, telling them exactly where to go and the fastest way to get there. It makes sure you're getting the absolute most out of every single person on the floor.
Now, a powerful brain like this can't just operate in a silo. It has to be plugged into the rest of the business's nervous system. And that system is usually the Enterprise Resource Planning Software, or ERP.
This is where a lot of people get tripped up. See, your ERP might have a warehouse module, but it's almost never enough. The ERP is focused on the whole business: finance, HR, sales. Its view of inventory is pretty basic. The WMS, though, it is obsessed with what happens inside the four walls of the warehouse. It lives and breathes every physical transaction in real time with incredible detail.
So, if you remember one thing, let it be this. An ERP runs the business, but a WMS runs the warehouse. They're two different tools for two very different but equally important jobs.
So how do they talk to each other? Well, through things like APIs, which are like direct phone lines, and middleware, which is kind of like a universal translator. It creates this perfect two-way conversation. An order gets placed, the ERP pings the WMS and says, hey, we got one. The WMS handles the fulfillment and then tells the ERP, all good, it's shipped. Go ahead and update the inventory and let the customer know. It's seamless.
All right, we've talked a lot of theory, but now it's time to talk about what really matters: results. What's the actual impact of getting a professional WMS, especially compared to some homegrown system you've cobbled together?
Honestly, the difference is night and day. A professional or Tier 1 WMS is built from the ground up to handle scale and complexity. It's ready for your Black Friday rush right out of the box. Those homegrown solutions, like the one that footwear brand was using, they almost always crack under pressure. They can't scale, they're missing key features, and they usually end up creating the same data messes you were trying to fix.
So let's go back to that footwear brand. I mean, with a huge network of over 50,000 retailers, their homegrown system just completely fell apart when their e-commerce sales exploded. They were drowning in those warehouse headaches we talked about earlier. They had hit a brick wall.
But after they put in a professional WMS, the change was immediate. Just by optimizing picking paths and streamlining tasks, they saw a 35% jump in how many orders they could get out the door. And get this, without hiring a single new person. That is pure efficiency right there. And the impact on their accuracy? It was huge, because the WMS was sending workers to the exact right bin every single time. Their returns from shipping the wrong item were cut in half. Think about that. That's a massive boost to customer happiness and to your bottom line.
And here's what all that efficiency and accuracy really looks like. The new system let them confidently ship over 2 million units, accurately every single month. That's the kind of scale that turns a growing business into an empire.
So let's wrap this all up. The big takeaway is this. The WMS is the operational brain of any modern warehouse, period. It does things an ERP module could only dream of. It squeezes every bit of efficiency out of your inventory, your space, and your people. And as we just saw, the right WMS delivers a return on investment that you can actually see and measure.
Okay, so getting the right product out the door fast is obviously critical, but think about it. That product has to get into your warehouse correctly in the first place, right? Well, next time we're going to tackle that very first step of the journey, mastering the inbound process. See you then.